welcome to Legacy IS Academy. In today's video, we are going to bring to you an important update that China has very recently started construction on construction of a dam on Brahmaputra River in the Tibetan Autonomous Region. So that is the latest news update that China has already started constructing. We do have video footage reports, we do have satellite images wherein China has started constructing finally the dam on the Brahmaputra River. Now this dam, which they have started constructing in 2025, has been into discussions from a very long period of time. Most lately, it was largely finalized in the year 2018, and I should say that in terms of formal document, it came into Chinese document by 2020 in their 14th five-year plan. Talking about this project, what is the criticality associated to project? Is it just the water related issues that India is worried about, or there are some other serious consequences with the construction of this dam that we will be delving into in this video. Talking about this project first, this project is taking place on the river Brahmaputra. If we talk about Brahmaputra, in Brahmaputra river itself and its entire riparian states, we will be discussing relatively little later. But if we talk about this project, this is taking place at the Great Bend at the Medog County region of Tibetan Autonomous Region. To be very specific, where is this project located will be something very interesting that shows that China actually doesn't need this project for their clean energy move. They need this project largely for the strategic move to disturb the peace in countries like India or Bhutan or Bangladesh also for that matter. This project is located in this region. This red line marks the boundary between India and Bangladesh, and this is the project, Medog project, which China has started to construct. The Great Bend that we talk about, this is the point where the Indian plate meets the Eurasian plate, and the entire Himalayan range concentrates largely at this point. The rivers such as Brahmaputra is considered to be one of the antecedent rivers. So what is an antecedent river? Antecedent river matlab the river was flowing even before the Himalayas came into place. So when the Himalayas were created, when the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate, this river was already existing. So they have tried to find out a path across the existing set of Himalayan systems, across the existing set of very tall young fold mountain systems. The river has continued to follow its own path, and that is why it takes a very sharp U-turn within the Tibetan Autonomous Region or within the territory of China also for that matter. This is where the project has been created. It is not all along. For example, China already has a Zangmu Dam. China already has a Zangmu Dam on the Yarlung Zangpo River. That's the name of Brahmaputra in Chinese. In China, they already have a dam, but they are creating one dam very close to the boundary. If we talk about in terms of kilometers, it is less than 20 kilometers from the Indian boundary. This is where the project will be created. If we talk about the capacity of the dam, it has a net capacity of generation of 60 gigawatts of hydropower. 60 gigawatts might look a very small number initially until and unless I tell you, compare this number with India's one of the largest hydropower project that we have is in Tehri, Uttarakhand, that has a net capacity of 2.4 gigawatts. 2.4 gigawatts is the potential of India's largest hydropower dam built so far. The one that India is building in this region is Siang, whose entire potential will also be 11 gigawatts. This project, that Medog County mein the project that they are building, has a capacity of 60 gigawatts, and that itself is a triple fold to China's own barrier. The world's largest hydropower project is also in China, known as the Three Gorges Dam, which has a potential of 20 gigawatts. So China has tried to overcome its own limit by 3 times. Talking about when the project was finalized, this was largely concentrated at a time when the world was suffering from COVID-19 and there was Galwan Valley clashes. Post Galwan Valley clashes, China tried to finalize this in a formal document in their 14th five-year plan in 2020. But if we talk about when did its implementation actually start, it started last year, December 2025. So final approval to the document was received on 25th of December last year, and the project has undergoing construction very recently. If we talk about the countries that will be affected are all the countries that are downstream countries. We call them as lower riparian states. That includes India, Bangladesh as well as Bhutan. Now, talking about the river and what is the significance of Brahmaputra for the entire region. Brahmaputra is itself a transboundary river. What is a transboundary river? That is not restricted to one country, or for that matter, Tibet itself is responsible for origination of so many transboundary rivers, including Indus, including Satluj, including such as Brahmaputra. Indus, Satluj and Brahmaputra closely, they are beginning at the same region within Tibetan Autonomous Region. Brahmaputra, after originating in Tibet, flows parallelly, that is in a east to west direction. It starts from west and continuously flows down to eastern side for a distance of 1,700 kilometers within the Chinese territory. After it enters India, it continues to flow for 1,000 kilometers. So within Indian territory, it flows for 1,000 kilometers, and within Bangladesh, it is only 300 kilometers. Just 300 kilometers within Bangladesh, sorry. But then why do we call Bhutan as one of the riparian states? That is because Bhutan has one river that contributes to Brahmaputra. Bhutan is the origin of Teesta river, which contributes to Brahmaputra. So Bhutan is also getting affected because of the flow that is taking place in Brahmaputra itself. Okay. So China, we discussed, is an upper riparian state. Upper riparian state is the state which is responsible for a higher altitude. So river is in youth stage or mature stage within the Chinese territory. Once it has entered, or I should call it as mature stage within Indian territory, because China may largely the river is in youth stage. The river has originated and the country lies in the originating state. That is why it is known as the upper riparian state. Once the Brahmaputra enters into Indian territory, it enters into a plain area, and that is why we call this that the river has entered into a mature stage. So Bangladesh, India as well as Bhutan are three such states which are in the lower riparian areas. If we talk about what will be the impact, we understood one of the important intentions that is signified by its the timeline at which the project was approved, 2020, that coincides with Galwan Valley. The location of this dam, which is very, very close to the Indian border, is also clearly stating the intentions of China. But if we talk about the regions which will get impacted, is largely the upper areas. The Brahmaputra's upper stretches in Arunachal Pradesh, which is going to get affected. Now, why Arunachal Pradesh? Because Arunachal Pradesh is a point of contention, the bone of contention between India and China. China has time and again called it as their own territory, calling it as Northeast Frontier Agency, that's NEFA. So China is trying to block the supply of water to Arunachal Pradesh such that it gets constrained and is ready or gets inclined to the Chinese domination. But why only Arunachal Pradesh? Because the river flows through entire region. Why is only Arunachal Pradesh that is getting affected? That is because once the river has entered India, it is joined by two major tributaries on the right hand side. One is Dibang, the other one is Lohit. And these two tributaries contribute a significant amount of water to the Brahmaputra river. That means the huge amount of water that Brahmaputra carries is after Arunachal Pradesh. If we talk about the total volume of water, Brahmaputra ka 30% water is supplied by China or Tibetan Autonomous Region. 70% of the water flowing into Brahmaputra river is largely coming from the rivers that are originating or contributing, adding up to Brahmaputra river within Indian territory. So 70% of the water masses are being added to Brahmaputra because it is taking place within India. So there is one portion wherein the river will not be getting tributaries and that will get affected largely. So all in all, you call it as a coincidence, but this region is Arunachal Pradesh. So Arunachal Pradesh will be facing the water stress. This region is also known for the fishermen community. So obviously the fishing community of Arunachal Pradesh will also get affected consequently. Now India and China, we have not, otherwise there is an international treaty known as United Nations Convention on the Law of Non-Navigational Uses of International Water Courses. But India and China did not have signed any kind of treaty. There is one agreement under the name of expert level mechanisms between China as well as India that has been existing since 2006. So there are some bilateral engagements, but there is lack of clarity on who can use this water, just the way we have with respect to Indus Water Treaty. If we talk about how our country is managing to such kind of situation, let's say China is building such a huge project on Brahmaputra river in whatever amount of water they have. Then India also needs to maintain a buffer, because if China, let's say, reduces the total volume of water, so India also needs to create a reservoir, and consequently India is building up a upper Siang dam. If we go by history of China, we do have it in the form of evidence. For example, for Mekong River, China has tried to alter the volume of water to twist and tweak the agreement with Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam as well as Myanmar. So CLMV, these four countries through which the Mekong River flows, China has tried to manipulate the government and ensure that these government take decisions in Chinese favor through tweaking the supply through the Mekong River. So same thing they can of course do with respect to Brahmaputra River. India in that case needs to be very, very cautious, and consequently India is developing buffer reservoirs and consequently dams in the upper Siang region. Additionally, for that matter, Bhutan is also building so many medium and small scale dams in that region. Talking about what will be the consequence of building dams at such high altitude. Of course, we do have some various ecological significance. The overall significance of Himalayan rivers is such that it affects the entire monsoon systems. It affects the entire economics of India's northeast. Brahmaputra is the lifeline of India's northeast. And all of that will largely get affected if the flow of water gets affected. So the Himalayan rivers itself affects the cryosphere. For that matter, the entire glacier affects the cryosphere. And cryosphere is going to affect the overall monsoon that is pulled to the Indian subcontinent. Now, if we try to tweak the supply of water, this is going to change the overall flow of river, surface water flow, monsoons and groundwater, everything is going to get affected. Additionally, the agrarian and fishing communities in the lower riparian states will also get affected. Interestingly, as we discussed, 70% of the water supply of entire Brahmaputra is being largely contributed by the tributaries once the Brahmaputra has entered into India. So after Arunachal Pradesh, none of the states are going to face the problem, be it India or any other country for that matter. Bangladesh also for that matter will not be affected, because Bangladesh has so many other sources of water. It has Teesta, it has Ganga, it has Brahmaputra with all other tributaries. So it is largely, the entire problem is going to get concentrated to the region of Arunachal Pradesh and the agrarian and fishing community which are residing in Arunachal Pradesh. But this so far is only the ecological consequences. If we talk about the geological vulnerability, one incident that strikes here is the 1950 earthquake that not only Assam but of course China, Bhutan as well as Bangladesh had witnessed. In the year 1950, in the same Medog County region, very, very close to the dam construction site, witnessed an earthquake of magnitude 8.6 on the Richter scale. That shows that this entire region is, as it is, very, very geologically vulnerable. Additionally, our Indian state of Sikkim in 2023 had also faced a very severe glacial lake outburst flow because of the bursting of one of the glaciers in Himalayas. So the entire region is not only seismically very, very vulnerable, but it is also vulnerable with the flow of water, with the flow of glaciers, any changing glaciers, or for that matter changing temperatures as well. So in that case, any country who is carrying out development at such high altitude need to be very, very cautious that the environment stands way ahead as compared to economics. When the decisions are taken by nature, no economics is going to help you. Thus, our way forward should be that we need to show some kind of urgency. Government of India has started showing some kind of urgency that we need to create a buffer in the Siang project. Additionally, we need to prioritize sustainable, multilateral and ecology-first governance, river governance. We need to set examples, exert leadership in preserving Himalayan river ecosystems. India needs to set examples through carrying out such kind of exercises. And of course, regional dialogues, dialogues based on shared ecological interests and resolving the disputes, resolving the issues through communications can of course be the always and permanent solution to such kind of problems. With that, we come to the end of this topic. If you have any doubt, please do let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much and all the very best.